Hey folks, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. And we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. I'm going to go over that real quick, and then we're going to go into the meat of the discussion here. And really, tonight's topic is about, should I buy graded coins? And as you know, last week I talked about pre-33 U.S. gold. Is it worth it to buy pre-33 U.S. gold? As far as graded coins and, graded 20s and stuff like that. As you know, many of you folks, we talked about again in last week's video. If you want to link to it, or we'll put a link down there below for you. I was speaking about buying a lot of these pre-33 golds for big premiums, and now the premiums are completely lost, especially at this new level of gold we're at, which is, we've broken that $3,300 level. But I don't want to date this video because this video goes beyond dating, because I'm going to talk again about, is it worth, should I have my coins graded? Is it worth having graded coins? All right, so we're going to go into that. How much more are graded coins? How do I know the value of graded coins? And where do I sell my graded coins? And when I talk about where do I sell my graded coins, we could also be talking about where do I sell my bullion, where do I sell my silver bars or whatever. It all kind of relates to the same thing, but let's get into it here. But before I do that, let's just talk about grading and where grading came from. I mean, you can see I've got some different services laid out here. I've got, for example, PCGS, I've got NGC, and some of you guys out there know this stuff. And I've got some companies out there that aren't even real companies. I mean, that people have gotten scammed on over the years, but we'll get into that as well. ANAX, another company that has been around a long time. And so let's actually talk about the evolution of grading first. Where did grading come from? What was the purpose of grading? And is it worth, buying graded coins? It's all kind of a flow. We'll get into this flow here. So grading actually started, as I remember, I think ANAX and maybe another company, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. If my father was here, he could help me out with it. But some of the older generation remembers the guy's name, but he would take photographs of coins and he would give grades on coins. But ANAX was probably, and ANAX is right here, I'm going to pull up an ANAX coin, was probably one of the original companies out there that graded coins back in the 70s. I'm going to say in the late 70s, maybe the early 70s. Remember, this is a long time, folks. I can't remember the specific dates. I probably should, but you know what? This is cool. This gives you good reason to go out and say, when did ANAX start grading coins, ANAC, which was owned by the ANA at one point, but no longer owned by the ANA. It's a private company, ANAX. And again, it's the evolution of holders and grading that I'm getting into right now. But to make a long story short, I'm not going to talk about ANAX, but ANAX and probably another company were the original graders. ANAX originally would have a black and white photograph about this big, and it would have ANAX grading across the top of it, and it would have a picture of the coin, a good black and white picture of the coin with the grades description. You don't see those ANAX black and white photograph cards very often anymore. I don't even know where they went. I haven't seen one in a long time, but probably one of the original graders would have been ANA under their ANAX label. Currently, like I said, this is owned by a private company, all right? But still a respectable label. And let me, before, I don't want to forget talking about ANAX and the current ANAX and some of the other grading companies out there, except for these faux grading companies like that. But ANAX is a good company out there. ICG, I think, is still out there. And forgive me if I forget the other one. But they all have their purposes and the reasons that you want to, that they're good for. And ANAX and all ANAX, PCGS, NGC, and where's the other company? CAC, and who is it? Man, it escapes my memory, but there's another company out there, and forgive me, are really respectable for their ability to detect counterfeits, or so for counterfeit detection, any of the companies that you see specifically here, except for this one, and that one right there, and I'll get into that in a moment right there. But any of these companies right here, very respectable companies for their ability to detect counterfeits. As you can say, I'm doing my videos here right in front of my coin store. And by the way, it's been a long, busy day, $3,300 gold plus. That's crazy. I'm dating my videos. I'm going to take a sip here of some wine here. Toast to everyone out there. And all right. So as far as the different companies out there, I'd say the respectable companies are ANAX, ICG at one point. I'm not sure if they're still in business, and someone else. And again, man, forgive me for forgetting the companies, but these companies are all great for counterfeit detection. All right. So that's your different companies. And I would say, again, you have maybe a handful of companies that are respectable for counterfeit detection. As far as grading goes, the evolution of grading, when you see the grades right there, like MS62, for those of you out there that have never experienced rare coins or graded coins like there, coins are graded on a numerical scale from the number 1 through the number 70, 70 being perfection, all right? And what a lot of people, and we covered a little bit of this in the last video when I was talking about pre-1933 gold, but the current grading system that is currently used by all the grading systems, PCGS, NGC, CAC, which is a very respectable company, and companies that don't even exist anymore, like NTC. There's a history behind these guys. I knew the guy very well, by the way. Well, I don't want to get sidetracked. These companies have been around for a long time, and you know, they're pretty respectable as far as grading goes and counterfeit detection. All right. My next, you know, I was going to talk about the 70 point grade. So they all use this 1 through 70 grade. AG, you know, being like AG5 or AG4 or something like it, or good 5, good 4, up to the perfect mint state 70. And as you can see, that's the 62, that's the 64. So the one thing that they all share in common, all these grading companies, is they use the Sheldon scale, which is a 1 through 70 grading scale. So, and that 1 through 70 grading scale, which is a little bit controversial at the time that a lot of people don't talk about, was derived from large cents. I believe Sheldon was a large cent guy, and Sheldon actually created this 1 through 70 grading scale for large cents. And it kind of developed into when the grading companies, PCGS and GC, started coming out using this 1 through 70 scale of 1 being the worst, 70 being the best, was derived from a guy that probably 100 years ago, I don't remember, Sheldon wrote a book about large cent and describes, you know, that grading scale. How, again, the controversy at the time was how the rare coin community adopted that 1 through 70 scale. And oddly enough, large cent collectors, and I'm kind of sidetracking here, large cent collectors don't even adhere to typical grading company grading scales, but I digress there. So the point is the evolution of grading. There's your different companies. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is modern coins. And modern coins, you know, pre-1933 gold, a lot of this stuff was very common. If you looked in the last week's video, I was talking about pre-1933 gold. And by the way, there's an old PCGS holder, and oddly enough, some of these old PCGS holders, people are just collecting holders right now. I wouldn't recommend going into that. And again, there's people that actually collect holders right now. That's why I included this old PCGS holder, and there's a new PCGS holder. But you know, buying pre-1933 gold, you know, I've talked about it for a long time. You know, United States $20 gold pieces, whether they're Saints, you know, Liberties, and those kind of things, are very common, you know, and they're currently bringing, you know, up to the grades in MS64. They're like close to their melt value, maybe a little bit more than their melt value on a retail level, but they're not super rare. And right now, years ago, people were paying big premiums for this stuff, and we recommended that don't pay big premiums for the U.S. $20 gold pieces and semi-numismatic stuff. Again, remember, this stuff is really rare. The only thing that's not rare about it is the higher grades. These things, again, very rare. I mean, very common, and a lot of the dates that you're looking at right here. So again, that was last week's video. We said kind of avoid buying $20 gold pieces. But what is the point of buying certified coins? Why do you want to buy certified coins? Well, you don't want to buy certified coins for things that are really common and only rare because someone graded it, whether it's PCGS or NGC. And I'm sorry, I don't want to kind of like rain on the parade of people that bought this stuff. You bought that stuff, and even if you paid a $200 or $300 premium for a 63, 64, whatever it was at the time when gold was $1,200 or $800 or $2,000 or whatever it is, you're in a good profit right now. Don't sell it just because you're listening to my videos and you're saying that it's not worth as much as right now as you may have paid for it. Just hang on to it. So I don't want people to go out and panic and sell your 33 gold that they paid too much money for, and trade it for gold eagles and incur the costs of doing that, because right now it's just a gold play. This kind of pre-33 stuff is just gold play. So let me get away from that topic, because again, I kind of beat it up a little bit last week. Like I said, there'll be a link to that topic somewhere here below here, and as you can see, that would apply to a lot of pre-33 gold, like US $5 gold pieces. 10 Indians still kind of hold a better value and higher grade. And I'm talking about this because some of you folks are always asking me to talk about coin stuff. So here we go. 5 Indians being a little bit rare and higher grades. But at some point, all this stuff that I'm showing you, 5 libs, 10 Indians, at some point are going to be just worth their melt value if gold just keeps going up and there's no buyers for this stuff. So the premiums that people paid years ago as an investment, I don't know, not so good. You would be better off buying Krugerrands, Eagles, gold bars. So what is the value of buying certified coins? Well, it's not common bullion products like 2000, Platinum Eagles, and Proof 69 or $20 gold pieces, and I don't even want to get into the topic of silver eagles. People that bought, there's another company, ICG. I don't even want to get into the topic of people that bought silver eagles, MS69s that paid like $10, $15, $20 over the spot price to get a graded coin. The premiums now on this stuff are just disappear. There's barely much of a premium on this stuff, and you can see there's boxes of this stuff here. But to make a long story short, what is grading services good for? What are all these grading services? PCGS, NGC, CAC, ANAX, and what is it, ICG? I'm not even sure in their business, but a couple of the other guys out there, they're great at counterfeit detection, and they're great at doing rare coins. I mean, they're great at all this stuff, even the modern stuff. This stuff right here was hawked by television marketers and all that kind of thing. But where you really want to focus on owning rare coins is into rare coins. For example, there's an 1891 CC $5 lib. I think they're probably in the $3,000 range. I mean, just looking at that sticker right now, I'm not quite sure. But Carson City $5. I mean, that's truly a rare coin. And at Mint State 62, the mintage is probably very low on that. Let's look at some other rare type coin here as well. And there we go. I mean, people are familiar with, and these aren't super rare coins, folks, but there's a 90 CC US dollar. NGC certainly capable and really good at authenticating what is truly a rare coin here. And that coin is probably around $600, $700 coin, if I'm correct here. Again, about $25 worth of silver in it, $26 worth of silver in it. So again, pure collector coins. That's why you want to buy certified coins, when you're buying stuff that has a true rarity value. This is the stuff that telemarketers used to sell. These are like $5 and $6 coins. Another good place is errors. They're very good at errors, all these companies at detecting errors. So the reason you want to buy certified coins, the reason that you want to own certified coins, you don't want to own the bullion stuff for certified coins. You want to own the stuff that has rarity, which means the kind of stuff that I'm just showing you right here. 1951 Proof 68 Ultra Cameo $half. There's a very specialized thing. I don't think I'd recommend anyone buying this stuff, even though it has a label at $9.50. It's a shrinking market, but I certainly wouldn't recommend you guys going out there and buying a common 1986 or 2007 Jamestown Commems. And again, this is stuff that you would commonly find at QVC, $75, $85 a coin, $50 a coin, or something like that. No. If you're going to buy certified coins, buy truly rare coins like that. And there's another pretty cool coin, 1937 British £5. But anyway, I hope I got my point across there. And how much more are graded coins? Again, that's the question that someone was asking me more earlier. Graded coins really excel in value when you're buying truly numismatic coins that have low mintages and are not this kind of stuff. How do I know the value of this kind of stuff? It's really tough. On the modern stuff, I kind of recommend that you look at eBay, and if you want to sell some of this modern stuff, there's still buyers on eBay, but don't forget on eBay you're going to incur almost 20% in charges, and then the person can still return the stuff. But I really don't recommend people buy modern coins like this. I mean, I hate to say it, even though I'm involved with a close, dear friend of mine that developed that market, and I helped him develop that market. I don't recommend buying them because there's huge premiums, and really what you're really buying is just a grade for a very common coin. And again, like we're seeing right now, you can just melt a lot of this stuff. It's just a sad fact. And where to sell? That is a question that we talked about last week. Where to sell this stuff? Well, folks, the first thing I recommend is find a good local dealer. If you have a good local dealer that's paying you what you feel are very fair prices on this stuff, stick local. I'd love to have your business, but there's nothing better than dealing with local businesses and guys that are in your neighborhood. And when I'm talking about your neighborhood, I'm not talking about like walking distance. I mean, if you have to drive even up to an hour to find a good local dealer, do it. And if you can't find a good local dealer, feel free to give us a call or email us, and we'll see what we can do for you. Find someone in your area, or do something with you ourselves. Well, that's about it, folks. Not much more to talk about, and I hope you liked this video, and if you did, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and let's see what we can talk about next week. I'll let you know. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you soon.